lots of questions, probably more than we can get to. Just a shout out to Gina. I see that you've joined us, which is great. The first question comes from the town we're in. This is Sarasota, Florida, where we are filming right this very second. It comes from a woman named Susan, and she said, "Hi, I'm looking for someone who can help me with menopause symptoms. I've been living with symptoms for almost 10 years, and they are starting to get more intense again. I've been of the mindset that it's a natural progression of aging." Feeds nicely into what we opened with. "But I think I've reached my limit. I went to a local natural doctor 2 years ago. After 3 visits and almost $2,500, he couldn't remember why I went to see him in the first place!" Exclamation point. "Earlier this year, I went to a local pharmacy and did a hormone saliva test. I haven't taken it any further than that because I really don't know who to trust or what to do. Do you think you can help? Thanks, Sue."
Yes, Sue. One thing that I did very, very early on, 2002, I published the first book on menopause and bioidentical hormones, and I wrote it for women.
Yeah.
This book is written for women. It's on that major distributor in the sky that you all know about, but I'd rather not mention the name, called Happy Healthy Hormones. This book is written for women. And there's several things that I address in there, including the big scare that's happened and what the actual facts are around that, and the references, if you want to go reference it, in the publicly available online medical literature.
That's an important point, just to stop you for a second. There's so many theories espoused by all sorts of people. And the ones that I respect the most are the ones who have delved into the basic literature at the core of the issue and are basing any words coming out of their mouth on as sound a science as can exist.
Exactly.
These are soft sciences, but there's a lot of research. And what do I know of you?
A ton of it.
You like to read it.
I do. And yes, we've got a lot of references, 80 in the book. I called out the most pristine ones.
Yeah.
And I've got a 700 reference database that relates only to menopause.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing, because a lot of women have been scared by this faulty study, scared by the rumors, and so they think, well, I'm going to avoid it. And then what happens? They keep avoiding it, and so many women...
There's another one. I'm sort of interrupting you today, I'm sorry, but that I've heard this one. It was brought up by a word she put in there, natural. Why would I treat menopause? Menopause is natural. They sort of feel that it's going against nature to do something like this.
Well, there's a lot of nature happening on the planet Earth and with human beings, and there's a lot of not natural happening.
Yeah.
And we don't know what life would be like if the human race ever grows so much in wisdom and in good practices and good living and love and happiness and spirituality, that they don't stress and injure our body. And there's nothing natural about those injuries. There's nothing natural about injuring the body through exposure to toxic chemicals, or through exposure to not enough movement and exercise, or to the craziness that's happened to the food supply. And the elephant in everybody's room is there's nothing natural about having a dysfunctional response to stresses in our life.
We surely wouldn't say it about many other things. Oh, it's natural that my bones are becoming more porous. We'd
Well,
go,
they're becoming porous for a reason.
yeah, we'd go, what can I do to not have my bones get porous?
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
And just because you brought that subject up, you could have chosen many other topics. Hormones, ovarian hormones for women, relate strongly to osteoporosis, the loss of bone density. Oh my God, the literature is loaded with it. It's been known since I've been in medical school.
Not enough hormones, bones get weak and porous.
That's right, and they fracture.
Yeah.
And muscles. I had a lecture from a gerontologist when I was a senior in medical school, and he told us, you want to know what's really happening to older people, more than all these technical diagnoses and pathology you know so much about as a senior medical student? They're losing their muscles, and they're losing their, and then they don't walk stably or stand stably, so they fall too easily on osteoporotic bones, and they fracture themselves, and that's usually the final event. And he's saying, you want to do something good for older people? Figure out this muscle thing and this bone thing. because that's what's happening to them. And both of these things relate so significantly, more than anything else, to the hormonal loss. What I was trying to point out, there's nothing natural about these declines. And may the day come in our lifetime where you get so skilled at the stresses of life that you don't deplete your crucial biochemicals called your hormones and neurotransmitters, and you don't drive your mitochondria crazy so they can't produce enough energy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So human life has got some naturalness to it, but it's got a lot of non-naturalness to it. Well, I'm trying to approach it from a facetious angle, really. I can tell you what's happening medically, because one of the things that helped me so much in all that I know about hormones is I got exposed early on to the gold standard for assessing hormones in research since the 1940s. It was the 24-hour urine hormone test. And I can tell you what's happening. Young women start to get these robust levels of hormones, and they peak probably in their early 20s or late teens, and then they decline over time. And men do a very similar thing. All of them decline. And then I can tell you this for certain, and I've seen it in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tests, and you ask anybody who's an expert in testing, some of these PhDs that do this for a living, they test ovarian hormones. And they're going to tell you, yeah, that's exactly it. When we give the reference range, we give it for different age brackets because they're different, and the older you get, the lower these hormones are. And then the other thing that's happened is as these hormones lower, things go awry. You can have a vitamin B deficiency, and that is not good for you. And yet it's going to be a slow thing, and it's not going to be terribly apparent until it really gets weird. But you get a hormonal deficiency or a neurotransmitter deficiency, and that stuff is so powerful that you notice that. My point is this. These hormones decline, and that's for sure. And when they decline, I can tell you, not as a guesswork, that it's the bones, the arteries, the brain, the memory, the cognition, the energy, the hair, the skin, the muscles, the vagina, the bladder. Why do people, again, walk with canes, walkers, and wheelchairs, lose their ability to stay at home and wear these adult diapers because they can't control their urine? This is primarily about hormones. So those are the medical facts. And are there a few elderly? A few. Oh my God. There might be a few. We live in Florida. You go to the beach in Florida and you see older people, and their lower extremities are so thin. They have sarcopenia. They have lost muscle. This is not a new discovery or a new thing that's taking place. So them's are the facts.
We've covered some great stuff. I feel like a couple points you brought in that are maybe getting missed. First of all, the most basic one, do you think you can help? What can I do? Yeah. And as a little aside, saliva test is what she did.
Thank you. Yes. Oh my God. One of the reasons I gravitated to doing this wasn't on purpose. My patients sort of took me here. But the thing that you give women proper hormones and they get dramatic results. They don't turn into their 20s. It's never one of my objectives. I have nothing to do with trying to restore a period. It's bad medicine to restore a period or sustain a period. We're not trying to recreate a 20-year-old thing in any way, shape, or form. But I can tell you, you interview a woman who's been properly treated with bioidentical hormones, and you're going to see the love pouring out of their eyes because it turned their life around.
Yeah.
And the sleep issues, the libido issues, the energy issues, they go on and on. So the answer is, it's a beautiful field because you can achieve so much. And I'm sorry about salivary hormones. I'm going to give you my best shot. Nope, 24-hour urine hormone test is the only thing to date, and I mean it. I give you my best shot. People can argue with me. Hey, listen, come on.
Or ask specifically why, right? Let's debate this one. If someone really loves the science and wants to get on and say why they think salivary
and I was attracted to salivary hormones when I first started practicing.
Yeah.
And the problem was they didn't line up with what was going on in the patient and the results I was getting. And I asked a few of my learned colleagues, there weren't a lot of them back then.
Yeah.
Because you and I started 10 years ago, but on menopause, I started going 25 years ago.
What you mean is, okay, here's some results coming in from this test. Here's the other test you've done, which you know is the gold standard.
Yeah.
Here's what the woman is reporting. This and this lining up.
They do.
And this one is an outlier. It doesn't match.
Doesn't reflect
so
it.
Something in this mix is not working, and the answer is obvious. It
Choose
can't
the
be.
one that it can't be. And when you explore how the saliva test is gathered and how it's done, I mean, saliva is not a natural conduit for hormones. It happens to show up there, just it'll show up in your tears.
Yeah.
But this is a bigger story. I just want to give you my best shot. And if you want to go deeper into this, someone that can ask a more technical question about it.
Yeah.
But you want to, and this is actually something I would use for, I suggest to women who are seeking out someone who knows what they're doing here. Because for one thing, these hormones, you have to have a prescriber. These are state controlled and properly so. They're so powerful, they need to be controlled.
Yeah.
You can't just walk into your pharmacy and say, give me some estrogen, over the counter. That should never happen.
Right.
They're too powerful, and you want someone very learned and knowledgeable, and so that they have to be a medical professional, a physician or nurse practitioner, basically, or a physician's assistant that works for a physician, and they've got to write the prescription, and so that's one thing you want. And then, oh my goodness, I was going somewhere else with this as well.
I'll take it one obvious place.
Yes.
She may already know this, but what we do is train doctors. And so if you say, do you think you can help? The answer is yes, we do, most likely, because we train doctors all over the place. And so if you go to our website, menopausemethod.com, and you find a doc and type in your information, we'll line you up with docs trained in our method in your state. So that's the basic way we help.
And then, in general, you need to go to a professional who number one, has the right to write a prescription. And that's going to be a naturopathic physician in many states and not all states, a medical doctor, or an osteopathic doctor, or a nurse practitioner. They're the ones who are licensed to write prescriptions for hormones, and you got to have one of those folks.
Yeah.
Second thing you want is you hope that they've taken a special interest in menopause and bioidentical hormones. And here's one way you can find out. You could say, how do you test me once I'm on the hormones? And you want to hear from that office staff that we do the 24-hour urine hormone test. And if you don't hear that, say, well, we monitor by blood tests or salivary tests. With all due respect, I'm going to challenge people and say, you want to turn away from that phone call and keep hunting. But like you said, if you go to Find a Doc on our website, we have a team member. That's one of the main things that she does, is connect people up with doctors we've trained.
Great.